Hello and welcome. Today we are having a look at a mixed freight train that's going to be departing from Waterkloof, the main station, and it's going to stop at Vlakteplaas, do some shunting, then continue through Bloemfontein and thereafter stop at Power and do some shunting and then return back to Waterkloof where it started. It's hauled by two 34 type diesels in the blue livery. And it is departing from Waterkloof, going behind East London Harbour, and then climbing the very steep incline to Vlakteplaas, and that is why we are double heading today. You can see already the train is starting to slow down because of the incline. I have not yet measured that incline, but that is in the region of about a 6% incline, if not more. And that makes operating very interesting in that double heading is now required by all but one or two exceptional trains or locomotives. Here we are entering into Vlakteplaas, and the diesels will drop the train off in the station, and thereafter they will depart back to Waterkloof so they can bring another load. And then while they are on their way back to Waterkloof, a steam loco from Vlakteplaas, the class 16DA, number 679, will take over the shunting duties and will continue with the train. Once the shunting duties are complete, it will continue to Bloemfontein and to Power, and thereafter also back to Waterkloof. The two diesels are on their way back to Waterkloof, following the shortest route the way they came, from Vlakteplaas down the incline behind Allo's backdrop and into Waterkloof station. There they will wait for their next assignment. These two locomotives are Freteshi bodies on heavily modified chassis that have been remotored and re-wheeled. Here we have changed cameras, and we're now using a small action camera mounted on top of one of the buildings. We can see the class 16DA coming towards us, ready to go and perform the shunting duties. And the shunting duties today consist of sorting out two wagons for the abattoir or the slaughterhouse. That is the stock car, which is that silver one, and also the brown refrigerated car. And they will be dropped off, and the grain car must be separated, so there's quite a bit of shunting involved. And I'm using a very old penlight torch with a piece of wire attached to it with a flattened tip as a uncoupling tool. And in the evening for operating sessions, you can simply turn the torch on, and then you have light in between the two cars to see the coupler and uncouple it. And here I'm battling a bit because I'm using my left hand as the throttle is in my right hand. But it works to uncouple the cars. So the grain car is now left in the first platform, and then we are pushing the stock car in to the second platform, or bypass siding, and it will be uncoupled, and then the locomotive has to do a complete runaround to push them in to the siding next to the stock pens. So both the cars for the abattoir has been uncoupled. The loco just making sure all the switches are thrown, and then it will reverse back into platform 1, couple up to the grain car and the two passenger cars, and once that is done, it will shove all the way out of the platform and enter into the second platform or second road, the passing siding, and push the two cars for the abattoir into the abattoir spur track, and then it will do a very similar move with the grain car that needs to be pushed into the Vlakteplaas vrugteverpakkers and grain co-op siding, which is the track at the bottom left of your screen. But we will switch to that view when the cars are being shunted, or the single grain cars being shunted. And sometimes there is a bit of a issue still with contact on the turnouts when your wheels just hit a dead spot. So I had to give the train a little bit of a help. But now we can continue and bring the train in to the first platform, uncouple the locomotive with the rough timber car and explosives car, and then run around the train and push the grain car into the correct spur track. And this locomotive is well over 40 years old and still performing excellently. It is made by Mahano, and the rest of it was a scratch-built effort by my late dad and by myself. There's some videos on my YouTube channel, about 4 or 5, about the scratch building process, showing the progress as I went along. And here we are pushing the grain car into the siding at the grain silo and the fruit packers. So let us see, there we're pushing it in. Now, I don't know what the passengers are thinking, since they're being shunted around too, but at this stage there's no other option. They will stop at the platform again. Hopefully they disembarked. And then the train will return, and it has picked up the explosives car and the rough timber car, and it will join them to the two passenger cars and then continue on, because the rough timber and explosives car are destined for the mine at Power, and then there's a pickup at the power station Machipupi at Power as well, and then the pickup, when that is done, the train will continue all the way down to Waterkloof to finish its run. Right, the connection has been made. Everything seems good. Air is being pumped up for the brakes, and we're waiting for the semaphore signal, and now we're waiting for the color light signal, which gives an indication of the main line, and a green signal, and the loco is on its way. Here we are nearing the mine, and we will have to drop these two cars, so the locomotive pulls them out away from the train. We'll shove them into the siding, retreat to the two passenger cars, and then the mine's own little switcher will shove the two cars right up to the spots where they are to be at the mine. And the mine's little switcher is just further down the main line. We had to pull that out before the mainline train came, and that is a very handy little hiding place for my uncoupling pick on the upper level. It's supposed to be a water pipe from a dam up here in the mountain somewhere, but since the pipe is hollow, the uncoupling pick fits in there very nicely. And there goes the mine's little switching engine, 040 Lima engine. That was my first steam engine ever. I think that I got in 1971, and it's still running, even though it's now DCC equipped. Back to the 16DA. And that continues down the mountain, past the mountain. And then just a little bit further down, it has to uncouple from the passenger cars again. And it will clear the switch for the power station, and there the heavy load from the power station is being brought out. And unfortunately, the coupler is sagging, making it very difficult to couple or keep coupled. So every now and again, there's a bit of assistance needed by a 050 helper. Those who don't know, that's your fingers. 5 fingers on a hand. And then the locomotive is the first ever locomotive I had. It was originally green. It's been repainted to resemble a Class ES, which was a battery-powered switching locomotives which South African Railways had way back. I can't even recall, but it was before I was born, so probably in the 1940s or 50s. And they used that in Johannesburg Station for shunting. Now we are back to the model. The 16DA is coupled up with the heavy load from the power station, the empty box, and coupled up to the passenger coaches. And it will now descend down the incline from power to alloys. And here we see the S-curve, just very briefly, and coming through the S-curve into alloys, and from alloys into Waterkloof. But my camera ran out of battery power, so unfortunately this is where the video ends. So thank you, give it a like, please subscribe and click on the bell icon.